we actually had people on the inside at WoW and at
At WoW, you guys had WoW
yeah, yeah,
insiders. Nice,
yeah, at Blizzard and at BioWare, because apparently they like somehow it just lined up. We ended up playing the game together, and
nice,
so and they were the guys that were in charge of. One was in charge of like disciplinary action. The other one was in charge of
dude. You guys had the
what do you
ban
call it?
hammer on your side.
Yeah, and then the other guy was in charge of security, right? So he would monitor for bots. So he banned every other bot except our bots, and we had the entire market. And
Oh
then the
my
guy
god.
that was in charge of disciplinaries, where you would normally get a ban, just gave us a suspension. So instead of using the suspended bot to hold the credits, we would just use
Hmm.
it to do the drop off. So
Oh
if it
my
got
god.
banned, we lost nothing.
Welcome back, officers of the Republic. It's your correspondent, Underworld Police Chief APGAINS. The sun has set and risen again on one of the wildest EA employee hacking, cheating, stealing scandals that we've seen in a long time. Very reminiscent of the one that happened to FIFA a while back. Just a quick side note from the numbers that we saw last night, now that a new day has started. This man's been hard at work. Some rough estimations put it at about $11 million of unrealized gains that EA certainly is going to be coming for. The man himself lives in Romania. They don't extradite. Are they going to go through EU courts? Are they going to send hitmen? Who knows? For legal purposes, that was a joke, EA. I do not, in my heart of hearts, believe that you would kill a man. But that being said, what I do have for you guys is a bunch of screenshots, new information we didn't have until very early this morning. If you look, oh, AP Gains, you're so tired. Yes, I stayed up all night doing this. Either you're welcome or I'm sorry, depending on if you care or not. We talked to the man himself, and then we're going to do a clip that we had last night where we're talking to some WoW botters who were making huge money back in the day, botting for WoW and selling accounts and doing all sorts of wild and wacky shenanigans, very similar to this. And let's break down the man they call Robin Hood is what we're calling him, I guess. So shout out to Kebab and Oblivion for doing a lot of the early groundwork, a lot of the early investigative work, because they happen to actually, as you see here, be in the squad arena shard with this man. So they were the first point of contact in game. So even before the character or the player had hit level 60, which unlocks Fleet Arena here, he had maxed out. As you see here, Sith Eternal Emperor, Malik, Darth Revan, Basilishan Fallen. He had Lord Vader, Obi-Wan Kenobi. He had all of the Galactic Legends with none of the requirements. So an obvious hacker, but at first we thought it was just a hacker until we started messaging him, and it was very clear. He says here, we contacted him, learned that he's actually an EA employee, and he's selling crystals for money, basically. So a new piece of information that's actually kind of interesting. I don't know if this will go anywhere, but all of the screenshots don't show that he's in a guild, but we have an early enough screenshot to where we can see a guild, and we know this guy's from Romania, and this appears to be a Romanian guild. I don't know. I mean, a lot of cheaters in this game have accomplices, so is this an unsuspecting guild that just happened to be the home of a cheater? Probably, because he had 400,000 GP, and this is a 328 million GP guild. So we know that he's been using EA support dev tools. We've known that since the early hours of yesterday. So we know this isn't just some normal hacker who happens to, be able to APK to win battles. He actually has access to change the game files themselves, thus giving him the characters without the unlock requirements. And we've seen up to, I think the max we saw was like 100 million crystals in someone's account. I actually missed it last night when we were talking to those guys. They said they were watching a man with 100 million crystals just buy everything out of the shop for free. It was wild. So the initial in-game interaction here, obviously Oblivion was just like, yo, like, nice cheats, dog. And then we get this interesting, add me on Discord. We can make money together. And this, I guess, this is where it all started. Let me take a little side note, jump into the future. When I was talking to the man himself, Arya, he's a Della on Discord, by the way. I was asking him, like, why are you doing this? How much money have you made? And he said it kind of started when he saw that people were spending upwards of $300,000 in this game. Now, personally, I had only believed that people had spent maybe $100,000 or $200,000, but $300,000 isn't a huge stretch. For those of you guys who maybe don't play this game, if there's probably one or two people who are going to see this video who haven't played Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes before, it's a game that requires either ungodly amounts of patience, like APGAINS has, or lots of money, which APGAINS does not have. Typical mobile game, nothing new. I'm sure you're not surprised in the slightest. But he said himself, he says, I want to make big money not fast cash. So from what I gather, this is something that he wants to keep doing, because when I talked to him, I was like, hey, let's talk. Like, you can use a voice changer. He's like, I think he had a funny line. Let me look for it. He said, I don't need a voice changer. I'm not a fucking criminal. I was like, all right, fair enough. Which I thought was hilarious. But yeah, so like he believes himself that he cannot be caught. He said, quote, it was impossible for them to ever know his identity. I don't know if that's true. I don't know how many EA employees or French people living in Romania that work and make about $800 a month. But you know what? If he can't get caught, he can't get caught. EA, I guess you're just going to have to suffer. So let's continue forward, go through a couple more screenshots. As you see, we have some points of contact in the Discord. We're trying to figure out, this is very early days when we're trying to figure out, how is this man doing it? Why is he doing it? And how does it work? So this is an EA employee. He's running, 15,000 crystals for about $10. And that's $100 is about 15, 16, 17, I don't know. This is roughly $100, so a tenth of the value of what you would have to pay for all of this stuff. And he even asked down here, do you think you can track you? And he's like, no, they can't. And then there was a point in time, which actually I think during this whole saga was the most interesting, where they actually stopped his tools and were like taking back some of the crystals. He ended up, figuring a way around it, eventually, so he could keep making money. But still, like, there was a point where I was like, oh, did they really shut him down? Like, I almost like just uploaded a video of like a slow golf clap. I was like, all right, EA or CG, Capital Games. I was just like, good job, guys. I mean, that was pretty quick, actually. So this is from about 6:50 last night. Updated estimates, or well, updated claims from him over $1,000. So this number is obviously not huge. If you want to make $300,000 and you only make 1,000, that's not great. But if he can never get caught and CG has no way of banning everyone who does this, maybe this will continue. I have no idea how this will play out in the future. But yeah, so I guess this is like an honorable man too, because I don't want to say honorable for hacking into an Electronic Arts game, but he's giving chargebacks. Like, people who lost their crystals because CG took them away, he's giving them their money back, which I definitely was not expecting. So this tells me that he's intentionally trying to be as reputable as possible. I don't know if that's something that you can really apply to this situation, but he's trying to be as honest as possible, because like he said to me, he wants this to be kind of a permanent thing. And they're talking about, he's getting treated shit by EA. He makes $800 a month, which is about what I make, but and he's a French man living in Romania. All right, let's keep going. So this is just kind of this, again, very late last night. These numbers have definitely increased, because I definitely noticed after my videos and Arnold's video went out, lots of people were trying to get in on this. Like, I don't think enough people realized that this would be a really bad situation for you if you were to get caught by CG doing this stuff. A lot of people, like, legitimately, wholeheartedly wanted this, and I think that's mostly because of the free-to-play versus pay-to-win sentiment that's existed in the game for a while. But still, I expect now that it's no longer, a national holiday. This happened on Labor Day. It's a Tuesday. It's just a random Tuesday. I imagine the ban hammer is going to start coming down on a lot of people. And this is just where he says, I'm surprised CG hasn't caught you yet. He's like, because I'm not working for CG, but EA. So, again, for those of you guys that don't know, Capital Games owns Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. EA owns Capital Games. So he's an EA employee and outside of CG. So I guess without contacting other EA support devs or whatever, or executives, it would be very hard for them to, one, stop him, but also figure out who he is. What is this last screenshot? Okay, I think this just happens to be another early point of contact from Oblivion. Nothing new added here. And just as a reminder, many, many, many people have had their accounts permanently banned for interacting with this. So maybe not a very wild and very wacky decision for you to give yourself 1 billion crystals for free. And that was midnight, I think. No, I think like 10 p.m. He had already given out 1 billion crystals. We're about to play some clips from a conversation we had with some WoW botters. But just a couple of highlights that they're about to say. There are other people doing this. This isn't the only guy. This is just the only public guy. There are plenty of people who have been doing this. I don't know if it was in the clip, but I got reached out to by a Russian company who has an employee who does this. The WoW botter said that a lot of the times they had guys on the inside, right? They had people in the discipline, like the head of discipline, basically. I don't know if it was the head. I feel like that would definitely dox his guy, but some people on the disciplinary team that would ban all the bots except for his, so that he could be the only person who could, bot WoW and be very successful doing that. But I was approached by a Russian company, and you guys all know this. I talked about I basically read on stream like all of the details of what they sent me, and they're just like, I won't say how much, but they offered me a lot of money to push this publicly. I reached out. I actually reached out to CG, and they said nothing. I was like, yo, like, if we're going to do something about this, like, I know this is against TOS. What do you want me to, like, this is, and they said nothing. So I obviously was just like, all right, well, this is obviously going to, I said obviously like 10 times in the last sentence. I need to calm down. Clearly, because not obviously, but clearly, not a good idea for me to participate in something like that. Maybe I'm kind of like Adela, I don't want fast cash. I want big money. Because right now my money does jiggle jiggle. It does not fold. All right, I got clips for you guys. They're entertaining. If you've enjoyed so far, maybe subscribe for Save AP September. The September where we're trying not to quit YouTube forever. 25K subs. Let's do it. Bye-bye.
That's about like $670,000.
Yeah, so he said he gave out about $1 billion. He gave out about $1 billion in crystals. Oh my god,
He's
dude.
gonna get sued into oblivion.
Dude, I know. He's gonna get sued. They're gonna try to extradite him from Romania. I mean, they're coming after this dude.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, right? If botters like get away, make literally millions off World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy, SWTOR, like
Yeah.
New World, like any MMO.
Who's the
Like,
guy?
no one's got
I was
arrested
reading.
for
Someone's
botting.
like, I paid for my
If-
undergrad with SWTOR bots.
That was me. That was me.
Nice.
Yeah, like I literally came out debt free.
Oh my god, dude.
And so like I bought it in Wrath of the Lich King. This is when WoW had the highest subscription numbers and currency was at its most. And then SWTOR came out, and then the credit value was at its all-time high. So like 1 million credits was like $20 million. So was like $20. So I was and we used a bot called BuddyBot and
Mhm.
HonorBot.
HonorBot.
And-
That's kind of funny. It's pretty.
Yeah.
Some irony
So
right
there's
there.
and then there's what's the other? There's a bot for Final Fantasy. I think it's Reborn Buddy. So we wrote a script, and like I literally had one room full of computers and laptops from janky ass pawn shops, just enough to run WoW and enough to run SWTOR.
Oh my god.
And another guy had the two other guys that I was doing this thing with, right? So I
Mhm.
was mainly just marketing, finding people to buy shit, but I had my own stuff running.
Yeah.
And then they had both of them had apartments full of computers botting, and then we actually had people on the inside at WoW and
At WoW, you guys had WoW
yeah,
insiders.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah, at Blizzard and at BioWare, because apparently they like somehow it just lined up. We ended up playing the game together, and
Nice.
so they were the guys that were in charge of. One was in charge of like disciplinary action. The other one was in charge of.
Dude, you guys had the
what do you
ban
call it?
hammer on your side.
Yeah, and then the other guy was in charge of security, right? So he would monitor for bots. So he banned every other bot except our bots, and we had the entire market. And then
Oh
the
my
guy
God.
that was in charge of disciplinaries, where you would normally get a ban, he just gave us a suspension. So instead of using the suspended bot to hold the credits, we would just use it to do the drop off. So
Oh
if
my
it got
God.
banned, we lost nothing. We did that in WoW and in SWTOR, and so it was like we had like five, 6 people total,
Jesus.
and yeah, we made a lot.
I mean, if you came out of college debt free, I mean, you had to
And I
have
was
made a
able
lot
to
of
buy-
money.
And I was able to buy a fuck ton of Magic cards, including Power 9.
Because like, oh, buying my mom a house. No. Setting my family up. No. Wow. Magic cards. That's what we needed, right?
Yep.
Hey man.
Hey, I was young, dude.
Hey, it's all
But
good.
hey, these cards are worth more than what I bought them for. So
Honestly, yeah.
like, I'm still winning. I'm
That's
still winning.
true. Yeah, fuck. I was playing with.
I had the when I bought them, I would say the prices now they probably a lot of them have risen to 5,000%
Jesus.
market value from when I bought them.
Oh, what
Like
is
yeah,
it?
like cards that I bought that were like $20 at the time, 20 $30.
Yeah,
Went up like at one time they went up to $1,500 overnight.
dude, you're like every Robin Hood user's wet dream right there.
Yeah, like that
He
can
was running a
run like
Black Lotus deck. I think that's
500,000
exactly what.
500 that can run
500.
500,000 to a mil.
Oh my god, dude.
Like I know a guy, right? Like I knew a guy back in I was in what was it, middle school, and
Uh
this is
huh.
like when I got into Magic, and
Yeah.
then there was a much older guy from Germany,
Mm-hmm.
and he had three Black Lotuses. He went to the bank, literally traded in three Black Lotuses for a fucking house.
At the
Like I
bank?
shit you not. Yeah, because the bank owned it. And then the guy who was, I guess, was doing whatever. I don't really understand how it worked, but he basically was like the guy who played Magic as well. He's like, here's three Black Lotuses. And he's like, I want the house.
How? What? As an outsider, like this whole like thing that's been going on today with this guy. What are your thoughts? How do you feel about this? Because a lot of people are calling him Robin Hood. A lot of people are just calling him a hacker. What would you say? I mean, you've done it, right? So, what are your
I
thoughts?
mean, uh, like I don't know the guy personally, but I'm like, if he's doing this, and if I hear the stories coming out of studios, because uh,
Yeah.
like I like doing a lot of animation and visual effects, but I don't really work in the industry.
Yeah.
But just because of the stories I hear, how these game studios like Pixar, Blizzard, EA, like literally they treat their employees like crap. They're
Oh yeah.
slave
No.
drivers. They're brutal to them, and just because it's yes, it's $1 billion industry, but there's only so many. There's a handful of companies,
Yeah.
so there's 75 animation jobs available every year
Mm-hmm.
for every 10,000 students graduating animation. That's not
Yeah.
including previous years of stacks of applications they got. So they'll work these people to the bone and basically treat them like garbage. And because they can just pull another resume off the desk
Yeah.
and
Because
replace
everyone
them
wants it.
like that.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
investment
So
banking.
like they had,
Everyone wants the job,
so
but no one
this,
wants to work 80 hours.
so this guy they had to really push this guy so far for him to be resentful and for him to lash out at CG or at EA
Yeah.
because he's at EA Games. He works for EA apparently.
Yeah. He says he's CG, but he might just be EA.